prayer can save souls. But in this place, prayer actually awakens demons. In 1983, a butcher performed a ritual of forgiveness after slaughtering 17 people, but it wasn't an angel who came. And now, every midnight, that prayer is played on repeat. Are you ready to hear it?
Di Sulawesi Barat, tersembunyi sebuah gunung yang tak pernah ada dalam peta. Mereka menyebutnya Bulu Karua. Konon, setiap kali namanya disebut, sesuatu dari dalam tanah akan memanggilmu dalam mimpi. Dan jika kau menjawab, kau tak akan kembali sebagai manusia. Rahasia Gunung Bulu Karua. Di tengah belantara Sulawesi Barat, berdirilah gunung misterius yang jarang disebut orang luar. Gunung Bulu Karua. Konon, ia menyimpan jejak peradaban gaib yang dikutuk leluhur. Warga sekitar tak pernah berani mendaki puncaknya. Bahkan burung pun enggan melintas di atasnya. Dalam tradisi lisan, gunung ini bukan sekadar tanah hias, dianggap tubuh raksasa yang tertidur ribuan tahun. Menurut dukun tua desa Paku, Gunung Bulu Karua pernah menjadi tempat perjanjian antara manusia dan makhluk gaib. Perjanjian itu dilanggar, dan sejak saat itu, hujan tak turun selama 7 musim. Dukun desa lalu memanggil para penunggu lewat ritual Mabet Tuada, perjanjian sakral dalam budaya Bugis kuno. Dari balik asap, muncullah makhluk tinggi berwajah tengkorak berselendang emas. Ia bicara dalam bahasa yang tak dipahami. Makhluk itu menawarkan kekayaan bumi dengan syarat tak boleh ada manusia yang membangun di lereng gunung. Namun, generasi setelahnya melupakan larangan itu, dan sebuah villa dibangun di kaki gunung. Sejak saat itu, suara-suara tangisan terdengar dari dalam tanah. Setiap tengah malam, anak pemilik villa tiba-tiba menghilang tanpa jejak. Hanya ditemukan sandal kecil di tepi sungai. Warga mulai panik. Mereka melakukan ritual pembersihan, tapi api unggun tak menyala. Dukun tua lalu mengungkap fakta. Makam tua di bawah gunung telah digali tanpa izin. Di dalam makam itu tertulis kutukan. Barang siapa mengusik tidurku, ia akan kehilangan bayangannya. Seorang penjaga villa terlihat berjalan, tapi tak memiliki bayangan di bawah sinar bulan. Warga akhirnya meninggalkan desa Paku satu persatu. Hanya suara angin dan gong gaen tersisa. Namun, ada satu wanita yang bertahan. Namanya Ina Siti. Dia pernah bermimpi bertemu penghuni gunung. Dalam mimpinya, makhluk itu berkata, "Aku bukan setan, aku penjaga." Tapi manusia tak tahu batas. Ina Siti pun menanam pohon Kamboja di tempat villa berdiri. Setelah itu, suara-suara itu hilang. Hingga kini, pohon itu tumbuh menjulang. Tapi, bunga Kambojanya tak pernah jatuh ke tanah. Peneliti dari luar negeri pernah mencoba mendaki gunung itu. Namun, kompas dan GPS mereka kacau total. Salah satu peneliti bahkan kembali dalam keadaan amnesia. Hanya bisa menyebut kata bulu, bulu. Nama Bulu Karua dipercaya berarti bulu terkunci, tempat suci yang tidak boleh dibuka. Warga baru yang tak percaya, cerita itu sering mengalami gangguan mimpi, bahkan sampai kerasukan. Dari CCTV villa, terekam sosok tinggi yang berdiri di antara pohon, tidak bergerak sepanjang malam. Namun setiap kali dicari, tak ada jejak. Tanah tetap bersih, tak ada tapak, hanya aroma bunga terbakar. Seorang pemuda pernah nekat menancapkan bendera di puncak Bulu Karua dan tak pernah kembali. Yang lebih aneh, 3 bulan setelah hilang, keluarganya mendapati surat tua berbahasa Bugis di teras rumah. Isinya hanya satu kalimat, "Dia tak hilang, Dia dipanggil pulang. Semenjak itu, warga tak lagi membangun apapun di sekitar gunung. Mereka hanya menunduk, dan lewat cepat, pemerintah sempat berniat menjadikan Hulu Karua sebagai destinasi wisata. Tapi proyeknya selalu gagal. Bahkan beberapa drone yang diterbangkan jatuh tiba-tiba tanpa sebab. Namun ada satu hal yang masih dilakukan hingga kini. Setiap tahun, warga diam-diam memberikan sesajen bunga dan air kelapa muda. Mereka percaya, selama kita memberi dengan hati, gunung akan menjaga, bukan mencelakai. Tapi, ingat, jika kau mendengar namamu dipanggil dari arah puncak, jangan pernah menoleh. Gunung Bulu Karua bukan sekadar tanah dan batu, tapi pintu ke dunia yang tak ingin kita temukan. Dan jika kau berani mendekat, pastikan kau siap kehilangan lebih dari sekadar arah. Jika video ini mencapai 100 Kelvin likes, kami akan bongkar kisah lanjutan. Rahasia Gunung Daeng Batu, penjaga kepala raja yang hilang. Pernahkah kamu mendengar tempat yang katanya dihuni makhluk tak kasat mata? Di Sinjai, Sulawesi Selatan, ada satu tempat yang tak boleh disebut sembarangan, Batu Karampuang. Konon, yang mengusik tempat ini akan dihantui seumur hidup. Batu Karampuang diyakini sebagai tempat leluhur dan alam gaib. Di zaman dulu, ada seorang dukun sakti yang mengunci kekuatan besar di dalam batu ini. Tapi kekuatan itu tidak bisa dikurung selamanya. Penunggu itu muncul dalam wujud bayangan, kadang menyerupai manusia, kadang hanya suara. Pak Randa, seorang petani, pernah tidur di sekitar batu karena kemalaman. Ia terbangun dengan tubuh penuh luka, tanpa tahu penyebabnya. Warga bilang, itu bukan luka biasa, itu peringatan dari sang penunggu. Anak muda desa pernah nekat live stream di lokasi batu, tapi sinyalnya hilang. Dan ia ditemukan tertidur di depan batu saat fajar. Setelah kejadian itu, ia mengaku bermimpi didatangi wanita tanpa wajah, berbisik dalam bahasa yang tak dikenalnya. Tak lama, ia mulai bicara sendiri, dan menulis simbol-simbol aneh di dinding rumahnya. Orang tuanya memanggil dukun kampung. Saat diruqyah, dia menjerit keras, "Batu itu milikku." Setelah sadar, dia tak ingat apapun. Tapi sejak hari itu, tak pernah lagi lewat jalan yang mengarah ke Karampuang. Warga percaya, sang penunggu tak ingin dilihat, apalagi direkam. Ia hanya muncul untuk memperingatkan yang sombong. Malam Jumat Kliwon, suara langkah kaki terdengar mengelilingi batu. Padahal, tak ada satupun orang di sana. Salah satu warga mencoba merekam suara itu. Namun, rekamannya hanya berisi suara desahan napas berat. Malam itu juga, ia bermimpi ditarik ke dalam batu. Melihat mata merah menyala dari dalam retakannya, ia bangun dengan tubuh menggigil dan punggungnya membiru seperti terbakar. Sejak saat itu, Batu Karampuang tak lagi dianggap tempat biasa. Penduduk mulai menaruh sesajen tiap malam Jumat. Namun, muncul gangguan lain. Bayi menangis tanpa sebab, suara pintu berderit, dan angin berhembus di ruang tertutup. Dukun kampung pun melakukan ritual pemanggilan. Namun saat dupa dibakar, sosok tinggi muncul di belakangnya. Ia tak bicara sepatah kata pun setelah ritual itu. Hanya menatap kosong dan menangis pelan. Setiap malam, warga percaya dukun itu melihat siapa sebenarnya penunggu batu itu. Konon, penunggunya bukan satu, tapi 7 roh gaib dari zaman raja kuno yang dikutuk hidup abadi. Satu demi satu warga mengalami mimpi yang sama. Dipanggil masuk ke dalam batu. Dalam mimpi itu, selalu ada satu sosok yang membelakangi, memegang kepala sendiri. Saat dipanggil, sosok itu pelan-pelan berbalik, tapi belum ada yang bisa melihat wajahnya dan tetap waras. Seorang wanita bernama Ita mencoba uji nyali sendirian. Ia siarkan langsung. Tapi tiba-tiba kameranya mati. Remaja terbaring di atas batu, tersenyum tipis, matanya kosong menatap langit, kabut mengelilingi. Ibunya bilang, sejak itu, Aldi suka melamun dan bicara dengan batu di halaman rumah. Seminggu kemudian, Aldi hilang. Hanya sepasang sendalnya yang tertinggal di depan batu karangpuang. Pencarian tak membuahkan hasil. Tapi malam harinya, ibunya mendengar suara Aldi memanggil dari dalam mimpinya. Tetua adat akhirnya turun tangan. Mereka melakukan ritual penutup gerbang gaib batu tersebut. Selama ritual berlangsung, batu itu mengeluarkan suara retakan dan tangisan samar. Tiba-tiba, semua obor padam, kabut turun deras, dan tetua tertua ambruk. Setelah sadar, ia hanya berkata satu kalimat. Dia belum mau pergi. Warga kembali meninggalkan sesajen. Batu karampuang kini dipagari dan dijaga. Tapi tak semua bisa melihat batasnya. Kadang terdengar suara orang tertawa pelan dari dalam hutan saat malam sunyi. Tertawa seperti sedang mengamati orang yang menonton cerita ini sekarang. Beberapa warga mulai mengalami mimpi yang sama. Mereka berdiri menghadap batu tanpa bisa bergerak. Dalam mimpi itu selalu terdengar bisikan yang sama. Diam atau aku datang. Seorang wanita muda bahkan kehilangan suaranya setelah tidur dekat area batu tanpa sengaja. Ia hanya bisa menulis satu kata di kertas. Maaf, batu karampuang tak bisa direkam. Setiap kamera selalu rusak. Atau hasilnya hanya kabut. Namun, seorang vlogger berhasil merekam 3 detik penampakan mata merah di balik batu. Sayangnya, ia ditemukan tewas keesokan harinya, tergantung di kamarnya. Tanpa luka, tanpa suara. Kini, tak ada lagi yang berani mendekat. Bahkan burung pun tak pernah bertengger di sekitar batu itu. Tetua desa hanya berkata, selama kita diam, dia akan tetap tidur. Tapi jika diganggu, dia akan bangkit kembali. Batu karampuang adalah batas antara dunia manusia dan sesuatu yang jauh lebih tua. Sesuatu yang menunggu untuk dipanggil kembali. Beberapa peneliti spiritual percaya, batu karampuang adalah titik magnet energi leluhur yang tak pernah mati. Dan energi itu hanya aktif saat manusia mulai sombong. Beberapa percaya, penunggunya bisa merasuki siapapun, bahkan yang menonton video ini. Kalau tiba-tiba kamu mendengar bisikan malam ini, jangan balas, karena saat kamu menjawab, itu tandanya kamu sudah diundang masuk, dan tak semua yang masuk bisa kembali. Jadi sekarang, pertanyaannya adalah, apakah kamu yakin kamu sendiri di ruanganmu saat menonton ini? Like kalau kamu masih bisa tidur malam ini, dan subscribe kalau kamu ingin tahu rahasia gaib dari Sulawesi lain.
In the interior of Sulawesi, there is a mountain that does not appear on maps, but appears in the dreams of thousands of people. That mountain not only holds stones, but the head of a king who cannot be buried, and tonight, you might be the one called. The Forbidden Head, the mountain that guards a king's soul. Have you ever heard of a mountain that is not on the map, but is known in the dreams of many people? The mountain is called Deem Batu, located deep in the interior of South Sulawesi. There are no signs, no paths to the summit, but since ancient times, many have been called to it. Residents believe that the mountain is where the king's head was buried in a supernatural way. Every night when the moon is dark, strange sounds are heard from behind the cliff. There was a whisper of wind, as if the stone was breathing. A climber claimed to have seen a blue light floating from the top of the mountain. He followed the light, and then disappeared. He has never been found. But the people said, "He's not missing. He was called to serve." At the top of the mountain, there's a rock that resembles a human face. It has a crack on its forehead. The crack leads inwards, like a storage area for heads. Legend has it that the head of the last Bugis king was kept there by a supernatural guardian. Who is the guardian? They call it Dean Batu, a living stone creature as tall as a coconut tree. Not everyone can see it, but if you stare at the night too long, it stares back. And from then on, you will never see the world the same again. This story comes from a secret Lonkara manuscript that is only read on Friday Kliwon nights. The last king mentioned in the text was beheaded magically, by a heavenly power. His head was not buried, but kept to maintain the balance of Bugis land. Why? Because the king has a blood pact with a creature of the southern seas. If his head is burned or buried, the sea will rise to swallow all of Sulawesi. So a sacred stone was made, in the shape of his face, and locked at the top of the mountain. Only Dean mantra holders know how to activate the barrier. But since the colonial war, the inheritors of the spell have disappeared one by one. And the mountain began to wake up. People who dream about stone faces will usually wake up with blood in their ears. Or seeing ancient Bugis symbols burned on the walls of his house. That's a sign. The king's head is calling. In ancient Bugis culture, the head is the seat of the supreme soul. If disturbed, chaos ensues. The villagers always put offerings under the stone, flowers, plantains, and the blood of a black chicken. But in recent years, that chicken is no longer enough. In 1998, a team of archaeologists from Jakarta tried to research the stone formations on Mount Batu. They bring drones, GPS, and 3D mapping. The first day, they all felt dizzy and nauseous as they approached the cliff. The second day, the voice recorder caught the sound of a mantra in an unknown language. The third day, all the cameras were broken, and the team decided to go down. But one of them, Prof. Atten, kept a small stone from the top of the peak. After returning to Jakarta, he became seriously ill and began speaking in the ancient Bugis language. He wrote in blood, "Return me to Dean. I do not belong to this world." A month later, he died, and strangely, his body slowly petrified. This finding was never published. The archives are locked by Li-Fi to this day. But there was one document that was leaked onto the dark web. It is said that the stones from Mount Dean have an abnormal electromagnetic field. When scanned, an image of a face appeared that looked like a crying human mask. Is that the face of the king kept in stone, or Dean Batu's angry face? In 2023, a small earthquake occurred just beneath the mountain. However, it was only felt by animals. Dogs howl all night. The birds fly before dawn. The residents said, that wasn't an earthquake. That was Dean's first breath. After that, 3 teenagers disappeared while climbing without permission. Only one returned, but he was blind and his hair had turned white. He painted stone faces all over the walls of his house, and wrote, "I see the king's head." The village elders decided to perform a mountain closing ritual, but the sound from the ground continues to be heard every Friday Leggy night. There was a sound like a rock being pulled and a strangled scream. Mount Dean Batu is not just a rock. It is the body of an ancient creature, according to legend. And when the king's head is no longer guarded, he will rise taking the whole mountain with him. The mountain is both a tomb and a body. At the top, there is not just a rock, but a gate to the underworld. Whoever crosses that line will never return in the same form, because his body may return, but his soul is replaced by the old guard. In the VOC archives, there is an ancient map marked with an X at the location of Mount Dingbatu. They call it the Forbidden Sentinel Hill. The map shows an underground passage leading to a stone well with a triangular lid. It was there that the king's head was kept, protected by 7 mantras. But the spell is now weak, because the heir died long ago. Some spiritual researchers believe the head is still intact, guarded by an eternal blue flame. And if someone touches it, he will see the whole hidden history, the whole secret of the blood pact, the betrayal, and the blood curse. But not everyone is ready to accept that truth. Many have tried and lost their minds forever. If you dream about a face-shaped stone, because not everyone can choose. Some are destined to be part of the guard. And tonight, Dingbatu might be looking at you. Listen carefully to the sound from the north. Because maybe that head finally opened its eyes. If you suddenly dream about mountains, fog, and the sound of rocks, don't ignore it. Because Dingbatu doesn't summon everyone, only those who are bleeding. Your face may resemble the first guardian, or the last king. That mountain holds something more than just history. He is a door to a place that must not be opened. And that head is the key. For a long time, the guards guarded not to protect us from the rocks, but to keep something from coming out. And when that boundary is broken, the world will see a face it never wanted to see. A face that was once respected, then betrayed. Now, he waits for his time, and that time might be tonight. If you feel called, don't go up alone. Because what is waiting for you is not a human. And if you see the stone smiling, then you are too late. If this video reaches 100,000 likes, we'll continue with the deeper story. The secret of Ding Lot Stone, the lost guardian of the Sea King. Subscribe now, before the voice from the ground calls you too. Seven cursed wells, but only one needs blood to stay silent. Tonight, it whispers your name. Seven wells, 7 victims, one ancient curse. Kalabuntet village, located at the foot of Mount Penkarak, is strictly forbidden for residents to touch the water from the 7th well. It is said that the 7th well is where the supernatural creature that guards the water of life is imprisoned. Every 7 years, one life must be sacrificed, or the village will be drowned in the curse of blood water. Long ago, the well was built by 7 old shamans to seal the black water spirit from the mountain. But the seal weakened when a child lost his hands in the water at the 7th well. Since that night, he never returned home. Only a small sandal and traces of blood were found on the edge of the well. That night, the sound of the water from the well changed, like someone was crying while praying. Since then, the residents have remained silent. No one dared approach, except for one person. The residents who tried to plug the well suddenly went insane. They were talking to themselves, as if they were being spoken to from underwater. Since then, the residents have remained silent. No one dared approach, except for one person. His name was Darson. He didn't believe in superstition, until his own younger brother disappeared in front of the well. Darson brought a rope and camera. He lowered the tool into the well. As the camera touched the water, the sound of a child crying could be heard from the speakers. Suddenly, a camera screen went black, but I felt the rope being pulled from below, very tightly. Darson tried to pull it back, but the end of the rope was wet with fresh blood. That night, the sound of the water from the well changed, like someone was crying while praying. The village priest said the guardian spirit had awakened. It needed a sacrifice before the seventh full moon. Otherwise, the water from the well will flow throughout the village, along with death. Darson then did something no one had ever done before. He entered the well. Under the well, it's not just water. It's a stone passageway with bones scattered about. He heard his sister's voice calling, "Sis, help me." But as he approached, the child transformed into a large black figure with long nails. Darson ran, but the passage turned into a stone room filled with screams. He realized he wasn't in the human world, but in a place where sacrificial spirits were kept. A mysterious voice said, "Lead one life, and you are free, or stay here forever." Darson refused. He threw the priest's amulet into the water. Everything started to fall apart. He woke up. It was morning, but the well was now cracked, and his little brother was standing beside him. However, his younger brother hasn't said a word since he came back. The priest said, "He is not your brother. He is just an empty body passenger." Since then, Darson dreamed of the well water calling his name every night. And one by one, the villagers began to disappear, always near the seventh well. They say, the well isn't satisfied, it hasn't had its fill of blood. And tonight, the sound of water was heard again. Did you hear that? That's not the sound of the wind. It was the same voice that called Darson that time. And if you've watched this far, your name is probably already on the list. Subscribe before midnight tonight, before the well calls you. They say, prayer can save lives. But in this place, prayer actually awakens the devil. In 1983, in an old slaughterhouse hidden in the Norwegian forest, a cleansing ritual turned into a bloody hell.
Rise, ancient one.
This video isn't just a story, it's a final prayer that should never have been recited. The sound of a knife being slowly sharpened, a haunting whisper, and then a sudden silence. The butcher's prayer. Deep in the ancient forests of Scotland, a slaughterhouse hides ... and no one dares enter, except for one man, who doesn't believe prayer can summon the devil. In the past, this place was an ancient worship altar, not to God, but to hungry creatures, who thirst for human blood. Liam, a horror podcaster, comes looking for a true story. But little does he know, that the story will seek him back. The cottage door was shaking slightly, not because of the wind, but because there was something behind it that wanted to get out. Inside, he found an old note, entitled "The Butcher's Prayer," written in dried blood. Liam read it, without knowing, every word is the key to opening the door of darkness. The sound of footsteps, but from above, even though the cottage was only one story. Shadows flashed by, like crawling flesh. In the blink of an eye, Liam saw the previous victim. Their mouths were sewn shut. Their eyes wept blood. Every word of the prayer tore at his mind, not just read, but felt in his flesh and bones. Blood began to seep through the walls, but the hut had no plumbing whatsoever. There was a chuckle from below. Liam froze. He's alone, isn't he? On the slaughterhouse table, the pieces of meat began to pulsate as if they were still alive. A skinless face stared at Liam from the corner of the room. Its mouth moved, calling his name. Prayer is not a request, but call, and the one who answered wasn't human. Liam's arm began to bleed on its own, forming an ancient symbol that could not be erased. Liam screamed, but no sound came out. The prayer had stolen his tongue. From the corner of the room, a doll made of flesh stands up and smiles. The lights went out. The cottage was lost in total darkness, except for a single candle, which burned with a black flame. Heavy footsteps hit the floor. The door slowly opened, and the creature came in. He found a finger in the sink, still twitching. He was here, watching through the meat hooks. The prayer echoed through the pipes. Someone else said the words and joined him. The air turned iron, the light turned red. He doesn't chase. He waits in places you forget. And when you remember, he's already behind you. One tried to run. He didn't have time to scream. Another one begged for mercy. Ezekiel gave him silence. They're still here, hanging, watching. This is his chapel, and they are his choir. The cleaver sings when it finds flesh. No mirrors. He doesn't like to see himself. But he loves to be seen. Your heartbeat is his invitation. Don't blink, he moves when you do. It's not just blood on his apron, it's names. Every name, a soul he fed the cleaver. She hid in the freezer, it froze her scream inside. They found her lips, but not her voice. He prayed again, and the floor opened. From the cellar, hands returned. They dragged her to the butcher's altar. There's no time here, only pain. She whispers, but only the dead can answer.
Come closer.
You can't close your ears to him. Once you hear the cleaver sing, it's already too late. They begged the walls to stop bleeding. But the butcher was still praying. This prayer feeds him. This prayer is his meat. She tore out her tongue to stay quiet. Still, he heard her heartbeat. The lights went out, but he never needs them. He moves best in silence. They tried to trap him in the cold room. It wasn't cold enough. You can burn the prayer, but it's in you now. Once you've heard it, you'll bleed too. The final cut is mercy. She looked up and saw herself hanging. The butcher stitched her into his prayer. It's not a story, it's a calling. And now, it calls you. One by one, the hooks filled again. No exit, only entry. They carved prayers into their skin, just to forget. But he never forgets. A chorus of screams feeds his faith. Your silence is his hymn. She tried to pray, but the prayer changed her. The prayer is alive. It writes itself, in your blood. She said amen, the lights shattered. He walked through the darkness, humming. He was never gone, only waiting. They thought it was over, until the smell returned. It smells like prayer and skin. She whispered, help me, and heard herself answer. No one leaves clean. The butcher sees everything now. He sees you. Don't look away. It's your name on the apron now, your hands on the cleaver. Your prayer begins now. Ezekiel is silenced now, and you are his voice. To bleed is to be saved. That's what he always said. They say, if you climb Johnny without permission, you could get lost forever in its mist. But did you know, the mist is guarded by a princess who once had her heart broken. Princess on Johnny. The Legend of Mount Johnny. The love curse of Princess Anjani. In an ancient kingdom in Lombok, there lived a beautiful princess named Anjani. Her heart was soft, her face like moonlight, but the palace didn't bring her happiness. Anjani felt trapped by the rules and political promises of her father, King Selapari. One night, Princess Anjani fled into the forest, seeking peace, far from the false human world. She arrived at a holy spring on the side of a mountain. There he meditated, united with nature and surrendered to the Almighty. Day after day passed, and Johnny's body became purer, her soul shining brightly. She no longer looked like an ordinary human. The spirits and genies who guard the mountain come to her. They bow down and call her the queen of the mountain. Anjani is no longer human. She has become a guardian spirit of nature. The mountain where she meditated is now called Rinjani after Anjani. But an old love haunts her. There was a prince from an eastern kingdom who once loved Anjani wholeheartedly. The prince searched for Anjani at the mountaintop, but all he found was cold mist and the whispering sound of the wind. Anjani, do you still love me? The prince shouted, but only an echo answered. Princess Anjani appeared in the form of a green light. She couldn't return to human form, but her tears fell to the ground. From those tears, a beautiful blue lake emerged in the middle of the crater. Its name is Lake Sagara Anak, child of the ocean. The prince vanished into the mist. Some say he transformed into an eagle that guards the skies over Rinjani. Since then, Mount Rinjani has become a sacred place, considered sacred and full of mystery. The Sasek people believe that if you come with a pure heart, Anjani's spirit will provide protection. But if you come with bad intentions, Rinjani's mist will swallow you in silence. Every year, climbers and local residents hold a Pejuang ceremony to make offerings to the Queen of the Mountain. Offerings are thrown into the lake, while praying for rain, harvest, and safety. The old people said, certain nights, Princess Anjani danced on the water of the lake, wearing a light shawl. Young people who climb without permission sometimes get lost for days, even though the path is clear. Because it's not a map you need on Ring Johnny, but a clean heart and sincere intentions. Once, a foreign climber claimed to have seen a glowing woman on the edge of a lake. However, in the photograph, the image came back blank. Myth or real? What is certain is that Mount Rinjani is not just dirt and stones. He's alive, he felt, and within the mist, the spirit of Princess Anjani still guards the land of Lombok peacefully. Mount Rinjani is now a global tourist destination, but for locals, it remains home to the Queen. Someone once said, if you want to see Anjani's face, don't look at her through a camera. Look at her through your own sincerity. This legend lives on in song, in dance, and in the whispers of the mist that descend at sunset. Because Rinjani is no ordinary mountain. It is a story of love, sacrifice, and eternity. Sometimes when the wind blows gently, a woman's voice can be heard singing from the lake. Her voice is sad, but beautiful. True love doesn't always have a happy ending, she said, but it will be remembered forever. Princess Anjani is no longer human, but she still loves the land of Lombok and all the souls who pray for her. If you climb to the top of Rinjani, greet him in your heart. Who knows, he will answer you through the wind. This legend is not to be feared, but to be respected, because nature is not ours, but a trust to be safeguarded. And Rinjani is a silent witness to unfinished love. The mountain still stands majestically, embracing the clouds and hiding secrets. And in her silence, Princess Anjani is still waiting, with a shawl of light and a heart that never dies. Subscribe. What happens if a cursed sea kingdom rises again? And who can stop the wrath of the guardians of the ocean floor, but the Queen of the South? Mystical battle in the South Sea. Queen of the South and the buried Sea Kingdom. At the bottom of the South Sea lies buried a magical kingdom that never wanted to be discovered. But when humans began to explore the secrets of the sea, the old treaty was broken. Queen of the South, ruler of the South Coast, rises from her mystical abode. She knows the long-buried enemy empire is starting to stir again. The East Sea Kingdom, once cursed by the Queen of the South, has now risen with revenge. And a great war between the rulers of the ocean is inevitable. The Queen of the South's troops wore armor made from sea dragon scales and carried weapons made from whale bones. From the other side, the King of the East Sea brought Leviathan to life, the guardian creature of the buried kingdom. The clash of mystical forces shook the seabed, creating a deadly vortex that sucked human ships into it. Amidst the chaos, a neutral guardian figure emerges, the guardian of the Black Rock, the ancient judge of the sea. But even he couldn't stop two powerful forces that had been holding a grudge for thousands of years. The Queen of the South dances on the waves, chanting ancient spells to awaken the sacred sea serpent. Leviathan raged, spitting out dazzling blue light, hitting the Queen of the South's troops mercilessly. The Queen of the South's forces retaliated. Green spears of light formed a magical net that enveloped the sea monster. The creatures that guard the ancient sea joined the fight. Their forms are strange, not human, and do not favor anyone. The Queen of the South's magical sea dragon and Leviathan fought hand to hand, their bodies intertwined, creating an underwater vortex. Above the surface, human researchers watch the invisible battle from the screens of their submarines. The magical light from the seabed awakens the neutral guardian spirits that have been sleeping. The East Sea's underwater palace began to crack, pillars crumbled, ancient symbols lit up and shattered. The king of the East Sea was thrown onto the barbed reef, his body badly injured, but his eyes still burned with revenge. But when victory was almost achieved, the kingdom that was thought to be buried turned out not to have fully risen. From within the gates emerged the Forbidden One, an ancient creature that even the Queen of the South feared. Enemies become allies, but is it enough to stop a power that originates from the beginning of time? The Queen of the South and the King of the East Sea exchanged glances. A historic decision was made without words. They must unite. The armies of the two kingdoms formed a circle formation on the seabed. Their magic powers combined to face the primordial darkness. The ancient creature went berserk. Its energy tentacles swept across the battlefield, shattering coral and splitting ocean currents. The neutral sea guards finally stepped in, the shield of light. They stood to protect the two kingdoms from destruction. At the bottom of the trough, an ancient spell circle was activated. Ancient ancestral symbols began to glow, opening the final path to sealing the forbidden power. The ancient creature's body began to crack, but its strength only grew more insane. Its screams echoed across the ocean. The Queen of the South chanted her final spell. Her body merged with green light, piercing the vortex and sealing the creature. One by one, ancient sea kingdoms are rising from the depths, a sign that this is not the end. The sea will never be calm again, for the blood pact has been broken. And humans just realized they are not the only rulers of the world. In the deepest sea, something is waiting for its turn to rise. Even the Queen of the South knows that the next battle is not just about power. This is just the beginning. If the underwater kingdom has risen, then is the world above ready for the next attack? What is truly sealed at the bottom of the Southern Sea? The next episode will reveal the Forbidden Seal. Don't miss out on the deeper mystery.
Dari ombak besar Laut Selatan hingga pusaran gaib di perairan Sulawesi, dua kekuatan halus pernah bertemu. Satu dari Jawa disebut Ratu Laut, satu lagi roh penjaga samudra warisan Bugis kuno. Dan malam itu perjanjian kuno pun diucapkan, tapi semua disembunyikan dari sejarah. Perjanjian terlarang Nyai Roro Kidul dan Roh Laut Sulawesi. Kisah yang terlupakan. Malam sunyi menyelimuti Laut Selatan. Ketika ombak hijau bersinar muncul dari kedalaman. Di istana gaibnya, Ratu Pantai Selatan memandang jauh ke arah timur. Ada yang memanggilku, kekuatan lama dari Sulawesi, bisiknya. Di pantai timur Sulawesi, seorang tetua Bugis menabuh gendang pemanggil roh laut. Kabut turun, dan dari kabut itu muncullah sosok roh perempuan berbaju biru laut. Ia adalah Datu Laut, roh penjaga samudra warisan Bugis kuno. Ratu Pantai Selatan menembus lorong waktu lewat pusaran air menuju arah timur. Datu Laut sudah menunggunya di tengah pusaran antara Makassar dan Selat Jawa. Sudah saatnya, wahai Ratu Selatan, ucap Datu Laut. Mereka berdua menyentuh air dan lautan pun terdiam. Arwah pelaut Bugis dan Jawa berdiri mengitari mereka. Malam itu, dimulailah perjanjian penjaga Samudra Selatan. Ratu Selatan mengucap mantra kuno dalam bahasa Jawa kuno dan Datu Laut menjawab dengan mantra Bugis yang diturunkan dari Ela Galigo. Mereka mengikat janji menjaga keseimbangan laut dari manusia tamak. Ratu Selatan memberikan sisir zamrud, simbol kekuatan Ratu Air. Datu Laut menyerahkan jaring emas roh laut yang diwariskan leluhur Bugis. Laut bergemuruh, dan dari dasar laut muncul naga gaib penunggu laut Sulawesi. Tapi perjanjian itu terancam. Manusia modern mulai merusak laut. Kapal-kapal besar menembus wilayah keramat, membangunkan roh laut. Datu Laut muncul di mimpi seorang pelaut Makassar dan memberi peringatan. Nyai Roro Kidul muncul di pantai Parangtritis, menampakkan diri pada seorang nelayan. Laut akan mengambil kembali jika kalian terus serakah, ucapnya. Malam itu, badai muncul tiba-tiba dan menelan 5 kapal dalam semalam. Seorang cucu dari tetua Bugis mendapat penglihatan tentang perjanjian gaib itu. Ia menulis ulang kisah ini dari lontar-lantar tua dan mimpi-mimpi leluhur. Ratu Selatan dan Datu Laut tak akan muncul, kecuali kalian mendengar. Sebuah nisan tua di pesisir Sulawesi tiba-tiba memancarkan cahaya hijau. Di Jawa, bunga laut bermekaran di sekitar pantai, tanda kekuatan gaib bangkit. Kini, mereka menunggu apakah manusia akan menjaga laut atau dilenyapkan. Suara gamelan dan musik laut terdengar bersamaan di ujung malam. 2 sosok berdiri di atas air, satu berbalut hijau, satu bersinar biru. Kami penjaga samudera. Bukan legenda, kami nyata. Ombak terakhir menutup wajah mereka, lalu menghilang ke kedalaman. Video ini adalah panggilan, bukan dongeng. Jika kau mendengar desiran angin malam di pantai, mungkin mereka sedang mengawasi. Pernahkah kamu mendengar bisikan aneh dari laut malam? Tulis di komentar. Aku percaya perjanjian ini ada. Jika kamu merasa laut menyimpan rahasia besar, subscribe untuk kisah mistis lain yang disembunyikan dari sejarah. Like dan share sebelum cerita ini lenyap lagi dalam kabut samudra.
What happens when a guardian of God meets the ruler of the supernatural realm of the South Sea? This agreement is not recorded in the history books. The spiritual pact South Sea Queen and the Saint. Behind the crashing waves of the South Sea, there lies a mystical agreement between 2 great powers of the archipelago. One comes from the spiritual world of Islam, the other from the mystical power of the Nusantara earth. In the 1500s, Islam began to spread throughout Java, but not all the guardian spirits of the earth accepted it peacefully. The Queen of the South Coast is disturbed. Her power is threatened by a new wave of hate. But Sunan Gunung Jati is not just a propagator of religion. He is an expert in celestial science and the guardian of natural harmony. The Sunan knew conflict to destroy the order of the supernatural world and the real world. In his nightly meditation, Sunan received a supernatural whisper, "Meet the guardian of the southern sea." So he walked south, along the forest, river, until he arrived at a seashore. There, the waves suddenly stilled, the wind stopped, time seemed to freeze. The Queen of the South Coast emerged slowly from the waves, her face glowing green, full of authority. "You have come, O messenger of heaven," he said, "but why have you disturbed my territory?" "I'm not bothering you, Sunan replied. I want peace between the sky and the sea. The queen glared at him. She wasn't an evil creature, but a ruler with a high sense of self-worth. She said, I don't reject Islam, but don't erase the spirits of my ancestors. Sunan nodded. Religion is not meant to erase, but to unite. It was at that point that the magical agreement was made. The queen was willing to accompany Sunan's preaching, on one condition. Don't forget the guardian spirits of this land, respect them in silence. Sunan agreed, and so an unwritten agreement was born. Since that day, there has been no war between the guardians and the guardian spirits of the land of Java. The Queen of the South Coast continues to protect the ocean, but now, he also maintains the direction of preaching. She punished anyone who misused his knowledge and polluted his sea. And Sunan continued his preaching until the land of Java shone in peace. However, only the guardians and chosen people know the contents of this agreement. This legend is not written in history books. It is only remembered by the wind and waves. And tonight, you have become witness to a story guarded for centuries. True power is not in the hands or magic, but in the pure intentions of the heart. The spirit of the sea and the light of the sky are now united to protect the land of the archipelago. Never underestimate the unseen world. Because what is invisible is what protects us from within. Now, if you go to the South Sea, be quiet, listen. Sometimes, the voice of an ancient agreement still echoes behind the waves. Don't be afraid, but be respectful. The queen is still there, guarding, judging. And Sunan lives on in the prayers of those who love peace. Remember, the South Sea is not just a myth, but guardians of our nation's spiritual heritage.
Forgotten Sea Queen legend. South of Java lies a sea feared and revered. But hidden beneath its waves is a forgotten name. Before the Sea Queen people know today, there was Ratu communing the golden spirit of the tides. Her legend faded, replaced by myths of power and wrath. But she was different. She was once a healer in a Javanese royal court, known for her golden touch. The drought came, the kingdom panicked, and someone needed to be blamed. Accused of witchcraft, she was sacrificed to calm the sea gods. The waves swallowed her, but did not destroy her. The sea transformed her sorrow into strength. She became one with the ocean. Her hair became coral. Her tears became pearls. Her voice, the song of the waves. They called her communing, after the golden flower that never fades. Fishermen say she still appears, guiding lost boats with soft glowing light. But if you steal from her waters, storms will come. She doesn't roar like other legends, she whispers. Full moon nights turn her sea golden. That's when her sorrow is strongest. Some claim they hear her sing, calling out for justice or remembrance. She never wanted to rule. She wanted to heal. But now, she haunts the tide. Centuries passed, the world forgot. Even the name communing faded. But not in all places. Some still remember. In quiet villages, elders tell her story to children as warning ... and tribute. They say, never mock the sea, never forget the queen who sleeps beneath it. The gold petals float in offering, hoping to soothe her spirit. Some call her a myth, some still dream of her. Those who truly believe feel a presence when near the southern sea. Have you ever looked into the water ... and felt someone looking back? The ocean never forgets. It only waits. Somewhere, deep below, she still watches, waiting for her name to be spoken again. Not in fear, but in respect. Legends fade, unless someone keeps them alive. Maybe that someone is you. If you believe in her story, carry it, speak it, share it. Because even the forgotten deserve to rise again. She is not gone, just sleeping, and your voice can wake her. Comment, commuting lives. Let her name echo across the sea again. Legends sleep, but we remember. Cinta mistis Ratu Pantai Selatan dan Prabu Siliwangi rahasia yang disembunyikan sejarah. Konon, sebelum Laut Selatan menjadi angker, ada cinta terlarang yang mengubah segalanya. Cinta itu milik seorang raja besar, Prabu Siliwangi, dan sosok misterius, Ratu Laut Selatan. Namun cinta mereka bukanlah cinta biasa. Cinta itu dipenuhi rahasia, kutukan, dan pengkhianatan. Kisah ini disembunyikan selama ratusan tahun, tapi kini semuanya terbongkar. Siapkah kau mendengar kisah kelam di balik cinta sang Ratu Pantai Selatan dan Prabu Siliwangi? Prabu Siliwangi, Raja Agung Kerajaan Pajajaran, dikenal bijak, namun juga magis. Suatu malam, saat bertapa di tepian Laut Selatan, ia bertemu perempuan jelita yang tak biasa. Perempuan itu, Tiroro Kidul Orania, bagaikan dewi, matanya seperti lautan dalam. Pertemuan itu membawa perasaan. Rasa kagum berubah jadi cinta. Namun, dunia mereka berbeda. Langit dan laut, kerajaan dan alam gaib. Ratu itu memperingatkan, cintamu padaku bisa meruntuhkan takdirmu sendiri. Tapi Prabu berkata, aku rela kehilangan segalanya, asal bersamamu. Mereka bersatu, diam-diam, dunia gaib dan dunia manusia menyatu dalam malam sakral. Namun, cinta yang tersembunyi selalu memancing iri dan murka. Para penasehat Prabu mencurigai perubahan energi dalam istana. Salah satu penasihat, Ki Tumenggung, membocorkan rahasia cinta terlarang itu. Ratu merasa dikhianati. Kau janjikan rahasia, tapi kau biarkan manusia menuduhku. Prabu mencoba menenangkan, tapi dunia manusia tak lagi bisa menerima. Akhirnya, Ratu memutuskan menghilang, kembali ke lautan. Namun, sebelum pergi, ia tinggalkan pesan. Siapapun yang menghina lautan akan merasakan murka dariku. Prabu kehilangan cinta sejatinya, tapi kekuasaannya juga mulai melemah. Ia memutuskan untuk bertapa dan menghilang dari dunia. Konon, Prabu tak pernah mati. Ia berubah menjadi macan putih, penjaga tanah. Dan sang ratu masih mengawasi Laut Selatan hingga hari ini. Itulah cinta yang tak bisa bersatu, tapi tetap abadi. Setiap tahun, ombak selatan menelan korban. Konon, itu karena sang ratu menagih janji lama yang dilanggar. Dan macan putih selalu muncul di malam satu suro menjaga warisan leluhur. Kisah ini bukan hanya legenda, tapi pengingat bahwa cinta bisa seindah lautan, tapi juga segelap kedalamannya. Dan jangan pernah main-main dengan perjanjian antara dunia manusia dan dunia gaib. Karena mereka yang melanggar tak hanya kehilangan hidup, tapi juga jiwanya. Apakah kau masih berani menginjak pasir pantai selatan tanpa izin? Atau mungkin kau telah jadi bagian dari perjanjian itu? Ingatlah, dia selalu mengawasimu dari balik ombak. Jangan lupa subscribe, like, dan komen jika kamu percaya bahwa legenda bisa nyata. Asal mula Ratu Pantai Selatan, kutukan cinta yang mengubah takdir. Di sebuah kerajaan kuno bernama Pajajaran, hiduplah seorang putri cantik jelita bernama Kadita. Kadita adalah anak dari Raja Munding Wangi. Wajahnya begitu elok, sampai disebut jelita tanpa celah. Namun, sang ratu wafat muda. Sejak itu, Raja menikahi seorang wanita lain yang licik, Dewi Mutiara. Dewi Mutiara punya ambisi menjadikan anaknya sebagai pewaris tahta, bukan Kadita. Suatu malam, Dewi Mutiara mengirim dukun jahat untuk mengutuk Kadita diam-diam. Keesokan harinya, tubuh Kadita penuh borok dan luka misterius. Rakyat takut, menyebutnya terkena kutukan. Dewi Mutiara pura-pura sedih, namun dalam hati tertawa puas. Raja yang bingung pun terusik. Buang Kadita dari istana, bisik Dewi Mutiara. Dengan derai air mata, Kadita dibuang ke hutan sunyi dekat pantai selatan. Ia berjalan tanpa arah hingga tiba di tebing tinggi yang menghadap laut luas. Di ujung keputusasaan, Kadita memutuskan, biarlah laut menelanku. Namun ketika tubuhnya menyentuh laut, keajaiban terjadi. Luka di tubuhnya perlahan hilang. Air laut justru menyembuhkan dan membungkus tubuhnya dalam keanggunan mistis. Ia tidak tenggelam. Laut menerimanya sebagai ratu. Engkau kini ratu penguasa selatan. Sejak saat itu, Kadita dikenal sebagai Nyi Roro Kidul, Ratu Pantai Selatan. Rakyat pesisir merasa perlindungannya, namun juga takut akan murkanya. Konon, dia muncul dalam mimpi raja-raja Jawa sebagai ratu yang menuntut kesetiaan. Setiap raja harus menikah denganku secara spiritual, ucap Nyi Roro Kidul dalam legenda. Istana bawah lautnya diyakini ada di pantai Parangtritis, tersembunyi dari mata manusia. Kadita kini abadi, bukan manusia, bukan dewi, tapi ratu penjaga batas antara dunia. Tak hanya penguasa laut, Ratu Kidul dikenal menjaga keseimbangan antara dunia manusia dan alam gaib. Ia bisa muncul dalam mimpi orang yang melanggar laut atau mereka yang berbakat supranatural. Banyak pelaut yang hilang di Laut Selatan dipercaya dibawa ke istananya. Namun, siapapun yang datang dengan hati tulus akan dilindungi dan diberi berkah. Ada mitos larangan memakai warna hijau saat ke pantai selatan. Warna itu dianggap suci baginya. Diyakini, mereka yang melanggar bisa terseret ombak dan tak kembali lagi. Tapi Ratu Kidul bukan sekadar legenda. Ia simbol kekuatan wanita, pengorbanan, dan alam. Di Jawa, ia dihormati dalam upacara labuhan oleh Keraton Yogyakarta hingga kini. Bahkan beberapa raja mengaku pernah bertemu langsung dengan sang ratu dalam mimpi spiritual. Sebagian menganggapnya dewi penjaga, sebagian lain menganggapnya ancaman gaib. Satu hal yang pasti, namanya akan terus hidup di antara ombak selatan dan bisikan angin malam. Legenda Kadita adalah cermin, bahwa kutukan pun bisa jadi takdir agung yang menyelamatkan dunia. Ratu Pantai Selatan bukan mitos semata ya, adalah kekuatan yang tak kasat mata, namun terasa. Dan malam ini, saat ombak menderu, mungkin dia sedang mengawasimu dari kedalaman. Jangan pernah menyebut namanya sembarangan, sebab dia bisa datang tanpa kau sadari. Jika kamu percaya pada legenda ini, bagikan kisah ini, dan biarkan dia tetap hidup di hati kita semua. Ratu Pantai Selatan dan Sunan Kalijaga. Di balik deburan ombak pantai selatan, tersimpan rahasia gaib yang masih hidup hingga kini. Di sanalah bersemayam sosok penguasa laut yang legendaris Ratu Pantai Selatan. Namun suatu malam, datang seorang wali Allah yang menantang gelombang dan kabut. Sunan Kalijaga. Sunan Kalijaga datang bukan untuk mengusir, tapi untuk memahami. Laut tiba-tiba diam, kabut menggulung, sosok wanita hijau muncul dari ombak. Wahai sang wali, mengapa engkau melangkah ke wilayahku? Tanya sang ratu. Aku datang membawa pesan, damai untuk menjaga keseimbangan alam. Jawab Sunan Kalijaga. Sang ratu menatap dalam. Keseimbangan itu telah lama dilanggar manusia. Ia berkata, manusia serakah, menghancurkan laut, gunung, dan ruh alam. Sunan Kalijaga diam sejenak, lalu berkata, karena itulah aku datang, untuk menata kembali niat manusia. Sang ratu mengangguk perlahan. Ia melihat kesungguhan di mata sang wali. Maka mereka pun bermusyawarah antara dua dunia yang tak kasat mata. Perjanjian gaib pun disepakati. Ratu menjaga batas gaib, wali menjaga hati manusia. Sebelum berpisah, sang ratu memberi peringatan. Jika manusia kembali serakah, aku akan muncul lagi. Sunan Kalijaga hanya menunduk. Ia tahu waktunya akan tiba. Setelah itu, sang wali pergi meninggalkan pantai, namun tidak meninggalkan perjanjian. Laut kembali bergelora, dan sang ratu menghilang ke kedalaman. Sejak saat itu, pantai selatan dikenal sakral dan angker. Para pelaut sering bermimpi melihat sosok hijau menyanyi di tengah laut. Namun, tak semua mimpi indah, beberapa tak pernah kembali. Namun di sisi lain, ajaran Sunan Kalijaga menyebar dengan damai di tanah Jawa. Ia mengajarkan Islam dengan budaya, gamelan, wayang, dan suluk. Seni bukan hanya hiburan, tapi jembatan menuju hati manusia. Namun, sang wali tak pernah lupa bahwa perjanjian itu bisa patah. Ratu Pantai Selatan masih menjaga perbatasan gaib, tapi sabarnya punya batas. Jika manusia lupa, laut bisa berubah menjadi murka. Kekuatan sang ratu bukan untuk menaklukkan, tapi mengembalikan keseimbangan. Dan jika dunia terlalu condong pada kehancuran, ia akan datang lagi. Sunan Kalijaga pernah berkata, siapa mengenal dirinya, maka ia mengenal Tuhannya. Begitu pula laut, siapa menyelaminya dengan hati, akan paham makna hidup. Legenda ini bukan sekadar cerita rakyat, tapi pesan untuk kita semua. Bahwa dunia tak hanya berisi yang tampak, tapi juga yang tersembunyi. Dan terkadang yang tak terlihat justru paling nyata. Ratu Pantai Selatan bukan mitos, tapi penjaga yang diam. Ia menunggu, bukan untuk menghukum, tapi mengingatkan. Dan pertemuan dengan Sunan Kalijaga adalah pesan abadi bagi seluruh Nusantara. Suka dengan kisah spiritual dan sejarah mistis Nusantara? Jangan lupa untuk like, komen, dan subscribe channel ini, karena akan ada banyak kisah legenda gaib lainnya yang jarang diungkap. Aktifkan juga lonceng notifikasi agar kamu tidak ketinggalan kisah berikutnya. Kamu pikir NASA cuma kirim roket ke bulan? Tunggu sampai kamu dengar soal proyek ini. Proyek yang bahkan tidak muncul di situs resmi NASA. Semua orang tahu NASA kirim roket ke luar angkasa. Tapi ada yang mereka sembunyikan. Proyek-proyek rahasia terkunci di arsip militer, tidak pernah masuk berita utama. Salah satunya proyek Horizon, rencana membangun pangkalan militer di bulan. Diluncurkan dayam-dayung tahun 1959 oleh militer AS. Bukan NASA, tujuannya menguasai luar angkasa sebelum Uni Soviet sempat melirik. Proyek itu dibatalkan, tapi jejaknya masih ada. Tahun 1959, militer AS ingin membangun pangkalan nuklir rahasia di bulan. Tujuannya, dominasi luar angkasa. Proyek ini disimpan rapat selama puluhan tahun. Bukan cuma itu, NASA juga tercatat punya paten yang tak masuk akal. Teknologi anti-gravitasi. Serius, ini diajukan secara resmi. Bayangkan, terbang tanpa bahan bakar, hanya menggunakan medan elektromagnetik. Proyek ini tidak dibatalkan, hanya tidak dibicarakan. Lalu, ada proyek Stargate. Tujuannya, menjelajah dimensi lain. Beberapa paten rahasia yang diajukan oleh ilmuwan terkait NASA menyebut propulsi medan elektrogravitasi. Apakah ini kunci pesawat antariksa diam-diam? Beberapa laporan menyebut eksperimen melintasi waktu. Dan teleportasi benda melalui energi kuantum. Gila, tapi dokumen ini nyata. Proyek ini juga melibatkan kemampuan psikis. Salah satunya remote viewing, melihat lokasi dari jauh, tanpa pergi ke sana. Teknologi atau kekuatan pikiran, sampai sekarang tak ada jawaban pasti. Rumor menyebut ada proyek bernama Stargate untuk menjelajahi waktu dan dimensi paralel. Proyek ini disebut bekerja sama dengan CIA dan NASA. Kemudian, satelit misterius. It's about Black Knight. Orbitnya aneh, sudah ada sejak 1950-an, sebelum manusia keluar angkasa. NASA tidak pernah menjelaskan benda ini. Beberapa percaya itu bukan buatan manusia, terlalu tua, terlalu canggih untuk era 1950. Tapi seperti biasa, NASA diam. Satelit aneh mengorbit bumi sejak sebelum peluncuran Sputnik. NASA tidak pernah menjelaskan secara lengkap apakah ini buatan bumi atau bukan. Kenapa banyak hal seperti ini disimpan rapat? Karena kalau terbongkar, semuanya berubah. Bukan cuma sains, tapi realitas. NASA tahu kita belum siap, atau justru mereka yang belum siap menjawab. Satu hal pasti, Mereka menyimpan lebih dari yang kita tahu. Dari pangkalan rahasia hingga teknologi yang terdengar mustahil. Apakah NASA menyembunyikan lebih banyak lagi? Klik subscribe untuk kelanjutannya. Proyek Horizon, Stargate, satelit hitam, semua itu bukan fiksi, tapi bagian dari sejarah yang disembunyikan. Proyek Horizon, Stargate, satelit hitam, semua itu bukan fiksi, tapi bagian dari sejarah yang disembunyikan. Dan kalau ini baru permulaan, apalagi yang belum mereka ungkapkan. Dan kalau ini baru permulaan, apalagi yang belum mereka ungkapkan. Kamu sudah siap dengar kelanjutannya? Klik like dan subscribe. Jika video ini tembus 100.000 likes, kita bongkar yang lebih dalam.
What if everything we know is just part of the story they've allowed? Imagine a major discovery that could change the world, but it's buried in silence. Today, we'll reveal it all. There are things you never hear about in science class, buried research, hidden experiments, and today, we're exposing it all. The scientific secrets they don't want you to know, hidden truths exposed. Have you ever felt like there's a part of science that's missing? Behind the official theories, there are experiments that are deliberately hidden from the public. Have you ever felt that something is missing from what they teach us in science
but it's
class?
giving me the creeps.
Discoveries that were made, then quietly buried. Documents that vanished, experiments that were never published. And today, we reveal what they didn't want you to know. This is the scientific truth they tried to erase. Let's start with Nikola Tesla, the forgotten genius. Why was an inventor like Tesla suddenly silenced? Was the world simply not ready? Or was there something bigger going on? Tesla claimed he discovered a source of free energy, unlimited, clean. But suddenly, his funding disappeared, his lab burned down. Some say he was silenced by those who profit from power. And what about the Philadelphia experiment? An alleged military experiment to make a warship invisible. Witnesses claim it vanished, teleported, then reappeared with crew fused into metal. Some scientists choose silence, others are never heard from again. The government, they said it never happened. Many who knew too much vanished. There's a pattern here. Truth erased, knowledge hidden. Even ancient history holds scientific secrets. How did ancient Egyptians cut granite with perfect laser-like precision? Were they using tools we don't yet understand? How could such advanced technology have emerged thousands of years ago, without a modern scientific explanation? Let's go further, to the Baghdad Battery. A 2,000-year-old object that might have generated electricity. Why do schoolbooks never mention this? or the Piri Reis map, showing Antarctica centuries before we discovered it. How did they know about lands covered in ice for 6,000 years? The more you look, the more questions appear. From corporate interests to the control of knowledge, is science being used as a tool of control? Is science controlled by those in power? Funding determines research. Control decides what becomes truth. The inconvenient truths never reach the public. Technology years ahead, hidden in black projects. Time travel, teleportation, mind control, all once called impossible, now whispered as real. Knowledge should liberate, not hide. It's time we asked, what else don't we know? Why hide the truth? Power, control, fear. But the truth has a way of leaking out. And when it does, the world will never be the same. Will you be ready to question everything? This is not conspiracy. This is reality. You weren't meant to see. Like, share, and subscribe before this video disappears. But the real secret isn't over yet. There's still a secret NASA experiment. A space project that even astronauts can't talk about. What did they really see on the moon? And why didn't we ever return? Stay tuned for the next episode. NASA Secrets and Dark Moon Missions. If this video reaches 100,000 likes, we will reveal NASA secrets and secret space projects you have never heard of before.
Teriakan terakhir bumi. Bisakah kita selamatkan dunia sebelum terlambat? Dulu, bumi adalah rumah yang penuh kehidupan, tapi keserakahan membuatnya sekarat. Hutan dibabat, laut tercemar, udara penuh racun, bumi pun mulai menangis. Di tengah kehancuran itu, lahirlah satu harapan. Anak kecil bernama Ara. Ara bisa mendengar suara bumi. Suara yang kita semua abaikan terlalu lama. Selamatkan aku, bisik bumi. Aku tak butuh pahlawan, aku butuh kesadaran. Ara memulai perjalanan, mengumpulkan orang-orang yang peduli. Ia menyadarkan warga kota yang tak pernah menatap langit. Tanamlah, bukan buang, rawatlah, bukan rusak, katanya. Satu demi satu, manusia mulai bangun dari tidur panjang. Mereka ubah plastik jadi rumah, sampah jadi energi. Mereka dengar pohon bicara dan laut berbisik, terima kasih. Tapi waktu tidak berpihak, kutub mencair, hewan-hewan menghilang. Sisa harapan ada pada generasi Ara, pada kita. Kita bukan penyelamat, tapi kita adalah alasan bumi masih bertahan. Dunia tidak butuh Superman, tapi manusia super peduli. Badai datang, lebih ganas dari sebelumnya. Dunia mulai runtuh. Ara, kau harus tinggalkan tempat ini, teriak ibunya. Tapi Ara memilih bertahan. Aku harus bicara dengan bumi sekali lagi. Di pusat hutan purba, pohon terakhir masih berdiri. Di sanalah semuanya dimulai. Ara menyentuh akarnya, dan bumi bicara dengan suara terakhirnya. Jika manusia berhenti mendengar, aku akan tidur selamanya. Dengan suara lemah, Ara berteriak pada dunia. Bangunlah, jangan tunggu keajaiban. Kitalah keajaiban itu. Dunia pun mulai bergerak. Tangan-tangan kecil menanam kembali harapan. Laut dibersihkan, hewan-hewan kembali. Udara jadi segar. Dan di antara semuanya, Ara menghilang. Tapi semangatnya tumbuh di setiap hati. Ia bukan pahlawan. Ia hanya anak yang mendengar lebih dulu. Dunia tak kembali seperti dulu. Tapi kini, kita hidup selaras. Kita belajar bahwa teknologi bukan musuh, tapi alat untuk berdamai dengan alam. Kini, anak-anak diajarkan bukan hanya membaca, tapi juga mendengar bumi. Karena hanya yang mau mendengar, yang mampu menjaga. Kisah Ara jadi legenda, tapi kita adalah lanjutan ceritanya. Selama masih ada satu benih, masih ada harapan. Bumi tak butuh diselamatkan, tapi ia merindukan kita kembali mencintainya. Pertanyaannya, maukah kita mendengar sebelum semuanya benar-benar terlambat? Ini bukan akhir, tapi awal dunia yang baru. Dari kamu, dari sekarang. Kita bukan pewaris bumi dari leluhur kita, tapi peminjam dari anak cucu kita. Mari, pulangkan dunia lebih baik dari yang kita temukan. Like jika kamu peduli dengan bumi. Subscribe untuk cerita inspiratif lainnya, komentar. Apa satu hal kecil yang bisa kamu lakukan hari ini untuk lingkungan?
They say, prayer can save lives. But in this place, prayer actually awakens the devil. In 1983, in an old slaughterhouse hidden in the Norwegian forest, a cleansing ritual turned into a bloody hell.
Rise, Ancient One.
This video isn't just a story, it's a final prayer that should never have been recited. The sound of a knife being slowly sharpened, a haunting whisper, and then a sudden silence. The Butcher's Prayer. Deep in the ancient forests of Scotland, a slaughterhouse hides ... and no one dares enter, except for one man, who doesn't believe prayer can summon the devil. In the past, this place was an ancient worship altar, not to God, but to hungry creatures, who thirst for human blood. Liam, a horror podcaster, comes looking for a true story. But little does he know, that the story will seek him back. The cottage door was shaking slightly, not because of the wind, but because there was something behind it that wanted to get out. Inside, he found an old note, entitled The Butcher's Prayer, written in dried blood. Liam read it, without knowing, every word is the key to opening the door of darkness. The sound of footsteps, but from above, even though the cottage was only one story. Shadows flashed by, like crawling flesh. In the blink of an eye, Liam saw the previous victim. Their mouths were sewn shut, their eyes wept blood. Every word of the prayer tore at his mind, not just read, but felt in his flesh and bones. Blood began to seep through the walls, but the hut had no plumbing whatsoever. There was a chuckle from below. Liam froze. He's alone, isn't he? On the slaughterhouse table, the pieces of meat began to pulsate, as if they were still alive. A skinless face stared at Liam from the corner of the room. Its mouth moved, calling his name. Prayer is not a request, but call, and the one who answered wasn't human. Liam's arm began to bleed on its own, forming an ancient symbol that could not be erased. Liam screamed, but no sound came out. The prayer had stolen his tongue. From the corner of the room, a doll made of flesh stands up and smiles. The lights went out. The cottage was lost in total darkness, except for a single candle, which burned with a black flame. Heavy footsteps hit the floor. The door slowly opened, and the creature came in. He found a finger in the sink, still twitching. He was here, watching through the meat hooks. The prayer echoed through the pipes. Someone else said the words and joined him. The air turned iron. The light turned red. He doesn't chase. He waits in places you forget. And when you remember, he's already behind you. One tried to run. He didn't have time to scream. Another one begged for mercy. Ezekiel gave him silence. They're still here, hanging, watching. This is his chapel, and they are his choir. The cleaver sings when it finds flesh. No mirrors. He doesn't like to see himself. But he loves to be seen. Your heartbeat is his invitation. Don't blink. He moves when you do. It's not just blood on his apron. It's names. Every name, a soul he fed the cleaver. She hid in the freezer. It froze her scream inside. They found her lips, but not her voice. He prayed again, and the floor opened. From the cellar, hands returned. They dragged her to the butcher's altar. There's no time here, only pain. She whispers, but only the dead can answer.
Come closer.
You can't close your ears to him. Once you hear the cleaver sing, it's already too late. They begged the walls to stop bleeding. But the butcher was still praying. This prayer feeds him. This prayer is his meat. She tore out her tongue to stay quiet. Still, he heard her heartbeat. The lights went out. But he never needs them. He moves best in silence. They tried to trap him in the cold room. It wasn't cold enough. You can burn the prayer, but it's in you now. Once you've heard it, you'll bleed too. The final cut is Mercy. She looked up and saw herself hanging. The butcher stitched her into his prayer. It's not a story. It's a calling. And now, it calls you. One by one, the hooks filled again. No exit, only entry. They carved prayers into their skin, just to forget. But he never forgets. A chorus of screams feeds his faith. Your silence is his hymn. She tried to pray, but the prayer changed her. The prayer is alive. It writes itself in your blood. She said amen. The lights shattered. He walked through the darkness, coming. He was never gone, only waiting. They thought it was over, until the smell returned. It smells like prayer and skin. She whispered, help me, and heard herself answer. No one leaves clean. The butcher sees everything now. He sees you. Don't look away. It's your name on the apron now. Your hands on the cleaver. Your prayer begins now. Ezekiel is silenced now, and you are his voice. To bleed is to be saved. That's what he always said.
Don't make me too